this analysis is of a Teachers Pay Teachers activity by the Gateway, and it seemed credible to me because of basically this front cover. As I was exploring free resources, it was deemed appropriate for 3rd through 5th grade social studies instruction, and it said that it explored history, U.S. history, and geography. So I thought that these steps would create quality instruction and kind of scaffold good research. So the philosophical orientation of this unit study, which kind of guides students to read different articles, to gain insight to the physical and human characteristics of 5 regions. But I would say that the philosophy behind this instruction does not reflect social transformation, but transmission, because yes, the students are immersed in different cultures and traditions of regions across the U.S. Yes, they explore in-depth components of each, but they do not challenge, or their research and their reading does not challenge dominant social order. Students analyze the existing social orders in various regions, and if they do recognize differences or form an internal opinion about those, they're not given the opportunity to critique the social orders that exist. And according to Parker, I would agree that this unit study does transmit the dominant social order, preserving the status quo. Continuing on the topic of the philosophical orientation of this unit study, I kind of highlighted different areas of the assessment or evaluation portion of the lesson plan. And it says that evaluation may measure knowledge transfer, learner outcomes, cost factors, and learner attitude. I would not argue that this lesson aims to politically reach or inform any level of citizen. However, the lowest level of citizen, not lowest level, but the simplest form of a citizen defined by Westheimer and Kane stated that a personally responsible citizen is one that, shows responsibility in their actions, basically has good morals. And I would not say that the instruction of this aims to even meet or better that level of citizen. It doesn't really address ethic issues or civic values. Then it says, and so one of the formative evaluation statements is that they apply what they learn to a technology-based activity, and it keeps the students connected outside the classroom. I would not say, or I guess I would argue that this does not show or provide an opportunity for true application. I think that the students are transferring knowledge from one form of expression to another. Like they're reading it and they're putting it into a scrapbook or a technology activity where it's just kind of repetitive. I think about Webb's depth of knowledge, and I think about what I've learned about application and kind of using what you learn and just thinking about it situationally. And I would not argue that this is true application, or I would not agree that this is true application. Also, it said that this activity connects students, and I do not see where it connects students emotionally or socially. As for summative evaluation, it kind of explains the scrapbook that they create, compiling background information, pictures, climates, topography, geography. Those are all great parts, but I think when you think about the core 4 principles of good social studies instruction, geography is really the only one that's met. There are so many opportunities in this kind of study to explore history in the various regions, or to explore the civics and address so many different components of people if they are exploring primary resources. But that's coming. By assuming the role of the traveler, the students are gaining insight to various cultures, but I would not say that they're creating or gaining multiple perspectives on one issue or topic. It is so important in effective social studies instruction that the students are able to look at a situation and change their role, like practicing empathy, or recognizing that not all students bring the same thing to the table. Their experiences differ. Their experiences differ from their peers, but also from students that existed in different decades and different parts of history. But these types of curricular decisions help develop an awareness of certain characteristics of regions. But this instruction does not lead a student to dive into exploration of issues that exist in their community and in other communities. This implies educationally and socially that it is not necessary for students to take action, own their triumphs or failures, or actively combat social justice or social injustices, which I think is the foundation of teaching citizens how to be informed, or teaching our students how to be any form of a citizen. Examining the pedagogy of this instruction, and in regards to the National Council for the Social Studies and what they explain as necessary to quality instruction, I took a quote from their writing, and it says, social studies at the elementary level should provide students with purposeful and meaningful learning experiences that are challenging, of high quality, developmentally appropriate, and reflective of contemporary social and diverse global realities. So as far as the surface level NCSS indicators that are met, and I said surface level because I was thinking of the pyramid, or of Webb's depth of knowledge, and I think that the levels of thinking and the levels of knowledge that are utilized in this curriculum are very, very basic. The instruction gives students an opportunity to complete activities and to create something. So I would argue that it is active and integrative, as students are reading and exploring geography and kind of economics. They are looking at costs at certain points. But I would say that it falls short of the indicators. I would not say that the instruction is meaningful or value-based or challenging. And it could be argued that it is challenging. Like if a student had trouble, if the student had trouble, completing the extensive research, but I would not say that it challenges their beliefs and core values and their own opinions and thoughts. And I think that's what NCSS means by, is the instruction challenging. In regards to being reflective of contemporary social and diverse global realities, I am not sure that this gives students like a great concept of reality. So I put that in quotations, showing that it's kind of a relative term here. Unless students are engaging in researching and analyzing primary sources, interviewing citizens of those regions, considering their perspectives, and extending their views of their country, this instruction does not effectively explore true realities. So I included a clip or a screenshot of part of the instruction guidelines, and it talks about having examples of reading. So here is a screenshot of some of the reading. I clicked on a link that was provided. And just take a moment and look at the words in this. First of all, it is .org. And I don't know if y'all experience this, but I learned in school, I remember if it ended in .org or .gov or .edu, that it was an appropriate source. So I think my young eyes would have approved this website. But the way that the opinion adjectives are thrown in here amazing land. We want to encourage you to intentionally make plans to get away from hustle and bustle. Look for the hidden beauty. There are a number of ways to connect with our country, and our hope is that we can inspire you to try the ones that will bring you closer to our great land. I'm not discounting the opinions shared here. I think there is value in the beauty of nature, but I don't think that's how you connect or become closer to our great land and our country. The vocabulary that's used and the level of opinion that it shares. I think it's important that it's not only obviously biased, but also persuasive and provides a fabricated view. It's one-sided, and it talks about, the great qualities of our land in regards to nature. So I'm going to start talking about the strengths and weaknesses with another quote from the National Council for the Social Studies. Knowledge, skills, and attitudes necessary for informed and thoughtful participation in society, which is the aim of our social studies instruction. It requires a systematically developed elementary program focused on concepts from the 4 core social studies disciplines: civics, economics, geography, and history. So I kind of mentioned those earlier. And this is focused on geography. And I also understand that in the on the lesson plan, it was only aimed at geography and history. However, the history was not explored. I looked at the different examples, and it could be added. Obviously, what the teacher provides as resources to explore could include different events and historical instances. But it was interesting to me that it was not included. One huge thing that stuck out to me was the restrictions or limitations addressed a prejudice that a student might bring, but those prejudices were not addressed again. So I think one important implementation would be to incorporate opportunities or stopping points to address those prejudices or preconceived notions that a student might have or bring to the discussion, and not only about other regions, but also the one that they live in. And then I said history, civics, and economics need to be addressed more in depth as well. Yes, economics is, I really do think that when they compare the costs, there's a great opportunity to talk about, not only the costs of living in different places, but supply and demand. What kind of resources does a certain region focus on, or what's their main means of income? Is it a farming region or something like that? Do they have crops? I think the length of time was a positive. This unit study allotted for weeks and weeks with each one. I think it said 19 days for each region, which is great. But in that time, the exploration could be so much more, valuable if the students were guided in a different direction. If the students analyzed regions based on people's perspective that were their own age, I think if they could, examine components that they could relate to, specifically a primary source like an interview, if they had the opportunity to listen to an interview of a student their own age, or examine a school that matched their background knowledge, I think that would be so beneficial to this content.